What if I told you that one of the games that we have going on for week number 2 is that we will have a tense rematch unfold right before your eyes as we will see Liberty and Jacksonville State square off in Jacksonville, Alabama, noon Eastern on CBS Sports Network. And this is a Conference USA battle that's going to have some early playoff and title implications, with this being not only a CFP elimination game here on College Football Red Zone, but on top of that, these two teams have aspirations in terms of winning the Conference USA this year. Jacksonville State obviously coming off as your defending Conference USA champions, while Liberty, they have a team year in and year out within the confines of that conference that is always towards the top. It's been one of the more consistent programs since joining the Conference USA. Now, with Liberty, they put up a solid performance. They had to pull away late with a 28-7 win over Maine, but the Coastal Carolina transfer in Ethan Vasco was able to finally get things rolling late in that ball game. 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns thanks to targeting like Reese Smith and Elijah Canyon, both guys that really stood up and helped this team out towards the end. And I also thought the offensive line looked pretty solid as well, and the defense certainly brings promising signs. So both teams seem to be meshing incredibly well, even though the team did get off to a slow start. But I think the biggest story of this Liberty and Jacksonville State matchup is really this Jacksonville State Gamecock squad. This is a team that I'm very curious to see how they look this upcoming weekend after traveling to the bounce house this past weekend and really putting the scare in UCF. And matter of fact, this was a team that deep in the second half, Jacksonville State was up on the UCF Knights, who recently made the transition up to the Big 12 a few years ago. And even though they couldn't ultimately pull it off, UCF finding a way to win that game, even though it was clear that the Knights did not have their A game. The early returns do at least show that, hey, brand new head coach Charles Kelly, while he did lose the his debut, he knows what he wants that identity to be moving forward, and is going to pick right up where Rich Rodriguez left off before departing to take the Western Virginia job and start his second tenure. Now, last time these two teams came to blows, it was actually Jacksonville State that came out on top. They did win 31-21, led by Trey Stewart's monster performance in that particular Conference USA matchup, going for over 200 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. But if we take a minute real fast and take a look at what this model is telling us right now, as we are recording this video, Liberty not only favored by FanDuel, but our internal power rating metrics also have Liberty favored, and actually favored by a wider margin than what FanDuel is currently looking at. What I expect to happen over the course of this game is I do expect Liberty really to try and control the tempo using that offensive line play, but I thought shine through, especially in those late moments while they're trying to avoid the upset against Maine. Meanwhile, Jacksonville State, they're going to also be a team that's going to be looking to punch through on the ground with what seemed to be a running game that actually found some success in that UCF matchup, even though it was an hysterically low scoring game. Plus, they'll have the benefit of this being the very first home game of the year, so trying to sustain that momentum on the home field, keep that Gamecocks crowd involved. Because historically, ever since they've made the transition up to the FBS level, Jacksonville State has in fact been a team that has done a pretty good job of defending their home field advantage. So, with all that said, I see how Jacksonville Statesman did in the UCF game, and really the preseason expectations that I also have for Liberty. And I wouldn't be completely surprised if we saw these two teams playing in the conference championship at the end of the year, with Liberty coming in as a conference favorite. And I still maintain, even though it wasn't an ideal performance for the Flames, I still have them as my favorites to win the CUSA and possibly go and actually scratch that. They are my G5 representative right now. Not an ideal performance from Liberty last week, but at least you're not a Boise State or an Army or a Mid-Tennessee. Meanwhile, Jacksonville State, I think while they have that clear identity already, that could truly give Liberty's front seven some problems. I do believe that at least Liberty, now that they're starting to really figure things out with Ethan Vasco, and that's one of the stronger offensive lines in the conference, I think they're going to ultimately be a little bit too much to handle. So I do think Charles Kelly is going to have to wait a little bit longer before he notched his very first win as the head coach of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. So I think this is going to be an incredibly competitive game. I think this is going to be one of the more fun games that we will get to watch during the course of the noon window. And because of all that, what we're going to do is I'm going to say Liberty wins the game, and I'm going to lean towards Liberty covering. I'm not super confident about that aspect, but I'm going to lean towards Liberty covering, and I think they'll come out on top with a final score of 30-24 in favor of the Flames, as Liberty will go 2-0, while Jacksonville State, they're going to start the season off 0-2 to begin the 2025 campaign.